The selfie revolution and social media have drastically changed the way we look at ourselves, with more women than ever before seeking out cosmetic procedures and plastic surgery. But how much is too much?
I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny.
25 years after Sir Mix-a-Lot's hip-hop classic, butts are bigger than ever in popularity and in size, a music industry requirement for video vixens and female artists like Nicki Minaj, who celebrated a huge career milestone with this Instagram video. I sat down with Dr. David Schaefer, one of the top plastic surgeons in the country, for his take.
Butt lifts, which, you know, have just started a few years ago, are definitely exponentially increasing.
DJ Kay Slay's wildly popular Straight Stuntin' magazine was one of the first to celebrate bootylicious beauties with high fashion model type shoots. Plastic surgery can change your shape in many other ways, like bigger breasts or fat reduction. Take Honey Boo Boo star Mama June Slim down from 325 pounds to a size 4. In some circles, slim is still very much in.
The idea of beauty is different for every person and different cultures and different groups of people. So some people come in here, they want their whole body liposuction, they want to be thin as a rail, right? Other people come in, they want to have curves, they want to have breasts, they want to have everything done.
Dr. Schaefer says bargain basement surgery in other countries can cause serious health complications and end up costing a patient more money in the long run. If you're thinking of surgery, he offers these tips. Do your research, make sure it's a real office, meet in person with a doctor, and choose a board-certified plastic surgeon.
Board certification tells you that that doctor has gone through all of the qualifications to become a doctor. And there's the academic learning, the ethical part of becoming a board-certified doctor, and then also all the training and experience that they've had.
Another key is non-physical, having realistic expectations, which Dr. Schaefer gives his patients using the latest technology. The whole idea, of course, is to feel better about how you look.
You want to make sure they're doing it for themselves and not somebody else pressuring them to do the surgery, because otherwise it's not going to make them happy.
So is all this emphasis on image changing our value system? Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining us, Dr. Tabitha Meir. She's a dermatologist. She's a host of a CBS radio show called Glam Meir. You've seen her many times on Bravo TV. Dr. Meir, thank you so much for being with us.
So excited to be here.
We really appreciate it. Yeah, me too. We're glad to have you. Also with us, just straight off the plane from LA, Keith Robinson. He's an actor. You see him now in Saints and Sinners. He's also starring in the upcoming Tupac biopic, All Eyes on Me. He's a singer and songwriter. His new album is called Love Episodic. Keith, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate it. Also with us is Jazzy Bell. She's a co-host with my good friend DJ Kay Slay on Shade 45 Radio. She's also the creator and host of the Women in Hip Hop podcast. Jazzy Bell, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited about that.
I'm excited to be here.
No, it's awesome. Dr. Meir, let me start with you. The pressure, you're in the public eye, you're on TV. Has it gotten too much?
It has. You know, it used to be 10 years ago, I would get women in their late 30s and 40s coming to see me for procedures. Now I have people under 18 coming in wanting things done. And it's actually because of the selfie culture. It's because of social media, and it's because they're trying to be perfect. And it is getting to be out of control.
It's almost like anytime you walk out the door, people have to be conscious about how they look.
Yeah, and also, but they're presenting this perfect image on social media, not realizing that they've been filtered, you know, to the gods. And and people are trying to get that filter in real life at a younger age, and sometimes in really dangerous ways too. Sometimes not through a doctor. Sometimes, you know, back alley kind of procedures.
Right, and things that are dangerous, and we've seen so many stories about those. Jazzy Bell, in the hip hop world too, especially for women, there's tremendous pressure. We saw Kendrick's song with, you know, he really likes stretch marks, but do you really buy that?
I do.
Maybe him, but in general.
No, I do. I mean, listen, guys I've dated, they like, take off that makeup now, you know.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. They like, take that doggone weave out your head. Like, you know, like, I like the natural you. And so I believe it's some truth to that, but what happens is we watch television and we see a different portrayal of what beauty is. So it's kind of a contradiction. So it's a conflict there as a woman to see, okay, at home, or we see a guy say this is what you love, but we see you on Instagram and we see you, you know, on TV, and you're hugging up against shorty with plastic body parts, and it's like, come on, guy, like, which one is the truth, you know? So it's difficult as a woman to kind of, you know,
figure out what really guys want, and also what makes you happy. Keith, what about? I'm sorry, you're the only guy here on the panel. You got Michael Medium here backing up, but
Help me out.
what do you think? There's pressure on guys though too, especially in the entertainment field. I mean, you're out there all the time.
I think there's pressure. I mean, social media it's kind of it's hard to come by. You know, self-love, I guess, is what it's all about. It's kind of being confident in what you have to present. So it does add pressure, you know, for men as well. I think maybe though a little bit less for men than women, but it's still there. It's kind of the underbelly of it, because you say you look, people live through these filters.
Yeah.
So people are subconsciously trying to keep up, always keep up, and it's constantly images are coming at you every 30 seconds on your timeline. So you kind of gotta put the phone down sometimes and get reconnected.
It's just too much. But what about the pressure itself? Because people, they make comments. I mean, people make comments on social media that they would never make in real life.
Right. Well, I mean, I was on my Bravo show and I was wearing this white dress, and in the time of the day of the month in a woman's life, you probably shouldn't be wearing a white dress. So I'm up on TV.
Otherwise known as that time of the month. Okay.
Not even PC here. And so I'm in there, and then it finally airs, and I get so many comments of other women. It comes a lot of times from other women saying, "You're too fat to be wearing that dress." I'm like, we have to stop. This is nuts. It's sometimes the meanest things come from other women.
Yeah, women, y'all are hard on each other.
Yeah, we are.
Y'all go in.
I don't know why that's the case, though.
Yeah.
I mean, even with my podcast, Women in Hip Hop, I'm all about women empowerment. I'm all about, looking out for each other.
Yeah.
But since starting that podcast, I've noticed that it's the women that don't show love. And it's so frustrating. So you're right about that.
Yeah.
And why is that? Why do you think?
We are taught to be judgmental, and I don't know why, and I don't know where that comes from. I've got 2 nieces. I don't want them to go through this stuff.
Right.
People have said to me when I introduce myself, "Hi, I'm Dr. Mir," and I know I was telling you this earlier, and they're like, "Are you a real doctor?" I'm like, why would you say that?
Why? Because you're beautiful and the way you look. They don't think you can also be smart
God
too.
forbid I could be smart too.
Right.
So yeah, it definitely is something that I've been dealing with for a long time.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's the nature of women. We're taught to be catty.
Yeah.
And it's just unfortunate, you know what I'm saying, because there's so much that we can do together, but I feel like it has to start with each other, like each one teach one. Hopefully somehow, some way we could break down the stereotypes and just, I don't know, get along, but it's pressure.
It'll be a little bit easier because I think it's the comments are vicious, and then I think the other thing too. You talked about your nieces. It's you look at our little girls like 8, 9, 10 years old. Now they're looking at Instagram and they want to be a certain kind of way at 8 or 9 instead of just going out playing and having fun. They're worried about how they look.
Yeah, those days are gone as far as being outside playing. They're
right. It's all on the phone, glued to the phone. But Dr. Mir, do you think that also the availability now, widespread availability of so many cosmetic procedures, of so much surgery, there's so much advertising about it. We see all those stories where you see faces over time, how people have changed, and after having all these procedures, that it's distorting what our concept of what's real is.
Absolutely. I look at like the Kylie Jenner effect. That's when I first caught on to it. When a mother came to me because there was a thing called Kylie Jenner challenge, where people were like sucking into like whatever to get their lips
really puffy, right?
So this woman comes in with her daughter with her lips all cut up, and I'm like, what the heck? And she had sucked into a shot glass, and basically, and so that's when I started noticing it. It's from these Insta celebrities that you want to be like.
Insta celebrities.
Yeah, Insta, and they want to be an Insta celebrity.
And then what do you do when somebody comes to you and they're like, hey, I want to look like this or this,
I think that
and they're 14 years old.
I think that if you're 14, you need to have a good sense of who you are, or at least I take that back. You need to start to learn who you are.
Right.
That's too young to start getting that stuff done.
Don't you think it starts at home as well?
Yeah.
Like, why as a parent you're not telling your 14-year-old daughter, be easy. You have to grow into your beauty. And not just your physical beauty, but your internal beauty. That's what's more important. Who you are as a person, your intellect, who you are minus your physicality. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's missing at home. We have to stop blaming the Kylie Jenners for the lack of self-esteem, the lack of self-love, knowing your self-worth. I think it really starts at home with the parents.
You can't put that on Kylie.
Yeah, you can't put that on.
At home.
They have a tremendous effect, but at the bottom, the bottom line at the end of the day is it's up to the parent if they're a minor, and up to the individual if they're an adult. We're going to continue talking about this. We're talking about the pressure to be perfect. I'm Lisa Evers, your host for Street Soldiers, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Lisa Evers. We'll be back right after this.
People were coming in every 3 seconds for like cheek implants and calf implants and lipo, and it's just like the business was booming. It was like the mall.
think about like hip hop, every culture too, and every kind of segment of society has what it thinks is the perfect ideal. And when we look in hip hop, we look at like Nicki Minaj, we look at her figure with the super tiny waist, with the super big hips, with the super big. And is that? I mean, it's almost like people are outdoing each other for that.
Yeah, no, it's a growing phenomenon, I will say. The hip hop culture has always been about, you know, beautiful women. Yeah, I mean, from the whole video vixen world. And the funny thing, you know, prior to doing radio, I came from that world. So I did that initially. That was my start into this industry.
You were in videos?
Absolutely. So that, videos and magazines, mainly magazines, not so much videos. But the pressure was there even for me. I mean, coming from Detroit, moving to New York, my mother and father told me I was beautiful every day.
Yeah.
But the minute I got off that Detroit boat, honey, and I started going to castings, and I look over to the left, I look over to the right, and I start to see that my waist isn't as small as hers, or my nose isn't as narrow as hers, you know, and it's just the pressure to be perfect in this industry. So I even, you know, felt compelled to like go to the doctor's office and be like, so what can I do to be hot? Yeah. And it's like, it's funny because doctors would be like,
and you're
girl,
gorgeous.
You don't get out of here, you're hot. And I'm like, I know, but I'm not as hot as she. Or even like casting directors would be like, you know, but that's the thing, you got these people, this industry is so judgmental. So these casting directors and these agents are like, you're too dark or you're too thick. Right. You know, back then, starting in the vixen world,
in the video,
thick wasn't in.
Right.
It was not in.
And the idea of perfect's changed a lot too.
Yeah.
Like
the shape of women. Tell us about that.
Nowadays, the biggest procedures now are what people don't get is like, you know, the small waists and the big backside. That's
we
not
can say butt.
I can say
Yes.
butt. Okay, so butt. That's not natural, you know, like people don't understand. That's what people are getting are liposuctions in their waist and the extra stuff packed into their booty, and that's today's idea of perfect. I wonder what's going to happen in 10 years when there's another idea of perfect. It's really scary seeing young girls getting this stuff done now, not thinking about how their body's going to change in the years to come.
And then and of course the breast implants is a very popular thing. Keith as a man, but men like those. Let's face it.
Do men like breast implants?
I mean, I think
men like breasts.
Well, I'm more of a booty guy.
Yeah.
But
Hey, woo, woo.
got them. I'm not mad. I mean, I think they do kind of proportion a woman out. They do have a certain level of sex appeal. Yeah. But I can actually take him or leave him. Actually, the breast. The breast. I mean, you know, personally.
All right, but you had to can you tell us about your experience?
Well, I actually dated a woman once, and I actually went to a consultation with her for her breast, and I was just astonished by the door never closed to the doctor's office because people were coming in every 3 seconds for like cheek implants and calf implants and lipo, and it's just like the business was booming. It was like the mall. It was like being at a shopping mall, and that a lot of times is what people don't understand.
Plastic surgery is contagious. I say that.
It's like tattoos.
It's like tattoos. It's like if you can start with your lips, you can end up being that all of a sudden, you know, 10 years down the road, you got 100 things that you've done because you keep wanting to Photoshop your body in real life. And
for some, I would say, not for all.
It can be.
Not for it can
if you have the money too, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
And we as men would much rather you have that naturally,
right,
as opposed to being, you know, plastic surgery. But if you get some altering things, it's okay as long as it doesn't look like it or feel like it. For men, we don't
feel like it.
You know,
yeah.
I mean, you know.
Well, how did it feel?
That's why they came up with the gummy bear breast implants.
Well, I don't really know, but I mean, you don't want to feel lumps and bumps.
Okay, yeah.
A woman is, you know, is supposed to be soft and feminine and curvy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Yes. And speaking of curvy,
You want it to feel like a soccer ball when you hit that thing.
We got you.
Yeah.
but even with speaking about curvy, and just to piggyback on what you were saying, doctor, I love to call you doctor, you're so beautiful. The small waist and the big butt, it is some natural to that. Like, because being from Detroit, you could throw a rock and run into a bunch of women that got small waists and big behinds like myself. But the thing with that is, why does that have to be the standard of beauty?
The first thing that people see and comment on is how you look.
Yeah, let's be real.
So do you ever get around that? How do you ever get around that?
I think that I get misjudged a lot.
You do as a doctor. Tell us that story.
I mean, I have definitely had so many stories, but to this day, people still ask if I'm a real doctor. I handed out my business card once, and the guy looked at it and looked at me, and he's like, "Is this a real business card? Like, I've got."
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding. It's happened so much, and I don't even know where to start because I can read, I can write, I can do math. I'm a doctor.
You have a medical degree?
Yeah. Like, hello. And so it's something that I try not to do to other people because it happens so much to me. I try not to judge other women. You know, if a good-looking man walked in the room and said he was a doctor, no one would question it. They'd just be like, oh, you know, not with us. We have to prove ourselves.
But do you think all this emphasis on image of women is kind of making women change what their goals are? So instead of going for the education, instead of going for certain career things, it's now like, let me research all these, you know, different plastic surgeons and techniques and things I can do, and let me study Instagram instead of like studying a law book or a college book.
As an Instagram model, you can get paid. So it's definitely some people do seek after that. I mean,
they see that as a way to get paid.
Oh yeah,
paid, right?
Especially in the hip hop, because you said right, like okay, Keith.
I mean, I'm not. You ain't Instagram model.
No, but you're right. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends that are Instagram models. I have friends that are strippers. I have friends that are bartenders, and even though they're my friends, I keep it real with them too. Like, listen, don't go to DR, don't go to Columbia and do all this to your body just to serve a Jack and Coke.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like I said, I'm for the surgery. Go ahead, do what you got to do to build your self-confidence, but don't do it to please a man. Don't do it because you want that man to buy you a Chanel bag. Don't do your body because you're hoping for a man to save you
and don't do it on the
marry
cheek.
you.
Right. And
yeah,
don't do it on the cheek.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like that. But I'm for, like I said. So
when you go to another country to get surgery done, there's no accountability. Like if anything goes wrong, you're on your own.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like people, and also, I mean, I have a patient of mine who saves up her money working at a Halloween superstore to come in to get her Botox done. Like she doesn't take any shortcuts, but people work for it.
What should people look for when they're going for these procedures? Because we hear these extreme stories like cement, you know, going into the backside. But in terms, there's a lot of like people like home Botox parties in somebody's you know, bedroom or somebody's kitchen.
Well, I mean, you want to go to a doctor. You know, like if you're getting surgery done, you go to a surgeon. If you're getting cosmetic, you know, dermatology, go to a dermatologist. Make sure it's a physician, board certified, licensed. A lot of these other things are not done by physicians. I mean,
like you won't go to a dentist and just say, hey, you know what? I got some tools in my kitchen here. Come on over. I'll fix you right up.
I know girls that are going and getting like watching it on YouTube and buying the stuff black market and doing it in hotel rooms. Like it's just scary. Go to a physician, licensed, board certified, have a talk with them, have a consultation, make sure you like their bedside manners too, and that's what you do. Don't bargain hunt.
But what about all these facial like there's a lot of these kind of like beauty places now, different names. They're kind of like you get a facial and we can do a few other things like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Who's doing it? You know, like that's what you need to ask. Who is doing your procedure? Some people don't care because they're coupon cutting on their surgeries, and you don't want to do that.
Keith, I'm going to give you the last word. A brave man on the panel here. In terms of your career, because you're doing so well in two fields that are very challenging and highly competitive. Just share with us the secret of success, because you know we get people here at Hot 97 on Fox 5. We get people who want to be where you're at and asking us for advice all the time. So, what would you say?
I would say staying true to yourself is important. Self-belief is important because it is a high level of rejection. So remember why you started. Stay focused on the craft. You know, continue to knock on the door, but get good at knocking. And don't give yourself a deadline, like I need to make it by such and such. Don't try to put limits on when you're supposed to be at a certain level or compare yourself to other people's careers, because everybody has their own path. So just learn to enjoy your own path and perfect it. And sooner or later, you'll be sitting on Hot 97 with Lisa Evans.
Hey! And Fox 5 Street Soldiers. All right, guys.
Soldiers.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. This was an awesome show. Dr. Tabitha Mir, Keith Robinson, and Jazzy Bell, thanks so much for being with us for this episode of Street Soldiers. All right. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. I'm Lisa Evers. Let's push for peace.